This conference will now be recorded.
So today we are going to discuss S/4HANA financial planning, product capabilities, SAC product capabilities. S/4HANA financial planning, as I said, it's also called as SAC integrated financial planning, which is tightly integrated with S/4HANA ACDOC-P table, and you can plan all cost center expenses, activity type prices, cost estimate, capex, financial statement planning using this particular SAC solution. So why the customer has to choose SAP Analytics Cloud? It has different capabilities. If you see, listed some of the capabilities of SAC planning capabilities. I'm talking about planning capabilities. So modeling capability, rich modeling capability. You can perform top-down and bottoms-up planning. So as I said yesterday, for the sales you can go with top-down, and for the expenses you can go with bottoms-up. You can perform what if solutions. So you completed your planning. So planning means what is your profitability you want to know in the next year, what is the profitability, or next quarter what is the gross profit you are going to get, how your company is going to perform in the future. So that's what planning. So the planning, again, they divided into multiple, let's say, current year planning, next year planning, next 5 years plan. Then you have something called budget. You can set the targets and the expenses should not exceed those budgeted value. So there are different ways for planning. And you have what if simulations. You can perform what if simulations here. So let's say you completed your planning. After completing the plan, so your management said, like after submitting the plan, after approving the plan, the management said, so just simulate if the raw material prices decreases 10%. So what if simulation, what it can do, if the raw material price is going to reduce, then what happens? Your product cost going to reduce. When the product cost reduces, automatically your profitability increases. That profitability increase basically affect your net income. So net income, when affected your balance sheet, when you are moving net income to the balance sheet changes. Same effect in the cash flow. So it tells if you decrease raw material 10%, right, how it is going to impact on your net income. For example, you have sales planning completed. So the plan locked for a particular amount. Let's say based on the quantity, they calculated the revenue. Quantity and prices, they calculate the revenue that is approved also. Later, management said, let's do some simulation where prices they are decreasing. So prices when they decrease, automatically the quantity increases, selling quantity, and also they want to give some more discounts to the customers. When you have these parameters changed, how it is going to impact your particular net income. So there are some dependencies. You can, what if simulation, what it does is there are some dependencies. For example, if they change the sales quantity, automatically the resources, the raw material requirement, activities requirement changes. So the raw material requirement, activity uh, 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 requirement changes, automatically it changes the product cost, automatically it changes the COGS, and automatically the revenue changed. You can see the impact on gross profit. If gross profit changes, it automatically impacts your net income. So this simulation you can perform. Same way expenses. You have different ways for the simulation. To perform this simulation, SAC is a very excellent product. When I have experience in BPC, I have experience in BPS and some integrated planning also. When I compare this solution with other solutions, SAP's capabilities much more when you compare with those products. Mainly the what if simulation. And it has a private versioning concept. right? So versioning concept is different here. So basically, it has public versions and private versions. So public versions are same like whatever versions we use in BPC or other products. But this private versioning is something unique to this SAC. Always you can create a data set for yourself. For example, I have actual data, right, coming from the source systems. The actual data, I copy it as a plan data. After copying the plan data, that plan data, I can save it as a private version. When I save it as private version, only I can access that particular data, the plan data. No one can see that plan data because the plan data is my private version. So I will add so many simulations to it, or I will use some trends to improve my expenses, to improve my sales quantity. There are some assumptions. I use those assumptions to complete my plan, whether that may be expenses plan or the sales plan. So I will check once I complete the plan. I will check all those numbers are correct or not. I will take feedback from my management, right? So the private version, the specialty is whomever I want to share, only I can share it with them. Private version data, other than me, no one can view. If I say, like, if I share that private version to my manager, then my manager can view. So that way, private version, once they complete, once they check, once they get the feedback, once they are okay, then they can make that private version as a public version. This is a unique concept. We are going to understand this particular concept here. Driver based planning. Here you have something called value driver tree. It's a forecasting technique. When you have particular plan data, the plan data, so this is another simulation tool actually. What if simulations you can perform using driver based planning also. Sales prices, right? So the sales prices are changed based on some price indexes. The price index is the driver for the sales price. So I have sales quantity is dependent on market growth. So when the market growth is increasing 10% or 1.1%, 1.2%, whatever, so that market growth impacts my sales quantity. So I completed my planning. Now I want to simulate my data based on some drivers. If the price index changes, if the market growth changes, how it is going to affect my sales quantity, how it is going to affect my sales prices, and when the sales quantity, sales price affected, then gross profit, discounts, and net income affected. Revenue, get revenue. So I can create a value driver tree and I can perform this thing. Predictive forecasting. SAP delivered some predictive forecasting techniques. So for example, you have automatic forecast, you have linear regression, you have triple exponential smoothing. So these are the standard techniques SAP given. Algorithms defined by SAP, the users can use these techniques. So using those techniques, you can train the system, train the algorithm with the actual data available. Based on the actual data, system only going to propose the fair forecasted values for the next few months based on the actual data availability. Also, they have some predictive scenarios. We are going to discuss predictive scenario. One of the predictive scenario, time series. So based on your actual data, you can train the system and you can you can estimate the targets for 12 months, 24 months, whatever months you want, whatever granularity you want. And here the collaboration is very good, collaboration and cell commentary. So comments for any planning project, comments are very important. For example, if you take HR planning, right? So you have to plan the headcount and you have to explain why that much headcount is required. So the comments are part of planning. Any product which gives you the more facility for the comments, that product will be succeeded in the market. So here this SSC gives you very good commentary options. You have cell comments, you have column comments, you have story comments, you have page comments. You can create reports on top of that. And if you talk about collaboration, so you can collaboration in the sense, so always when I am a planner, right? When I am planning, if I have some questions, I want to share that my planning template with my manager or my colleagues, and I want to take their points, or I want to take their feedback. So their collaboration is required. And also I need, so for example, I just ask something to the system, and I expect reply from the system. So these are the new trends, right? So artificial intelligence or machine learning. So what is the benefit you are going to get? You ask it, you get answer. So earlier in the a few years back, how we create a report? We create a report. We add the rows, columns. Now also we add rows and columns. We will get the reports. But if I use AI based on your question, system can automatically create even charts. It can create reports for you. And also collaboration, basically you you have to see, the user can't know the place where the report, so many reports will be there, so many input templates are there. User can't know the can't remember the folder names and all those things. So I need a particular process where I give the hyperlinks. Just the user clicks on that link, he can open the input template, no need to search. After completing his plan, he want to submit for the approval. The reviewer want to open that submitted report, and he want to approve or reject that particular report. And when he is rejecting, he want to give comments. When he is approving, he want to give comments. So these are all part of collaborations are available here in SAC. Data locking, validations, all part of this particular collaborations. You have workflow, task assignment as part of collaboration. As I said, like allocations, common expenses allocations from one utilities cost center to other service cost centers or building cost center, I mean manufacturing cost centers available. You can analyze the, because SAC is a kind of uh, 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 analytical tool, predictive tool and planning tool. You can analyze your reports. Variance calculations are possible. Standard calculations are also available. Even Excel integration also possible. Like for BPC EPM add-in, you can also use Excel integration for SAC. So one by one, if you see the why it's rich modeling here, you see the Excel kind of screen here. You see Excel kind of screen to maintain the master data. So if it is kind of Excel, it's easy to maintain. You can maintain different properties. You can define multiple hierarchies here. You have account type dimension where you can define your financial statements, and you can define what kind of account it is, whether it is income account, expense account. You can define formulas for the KPIs. You have dimension formulas. You can define the dimension formulas in the dimension itself.
Yeah, Kiran, can you explain the KPI reporting? What is KPI exactly in financial planning?
Yeah, I'll explain that one,
Thank you.
right? So here, data entry. So the screens, you can see the data entry screens. So this is the table, and in this table you can see this yellow color. So when I input the data, it shows like yellow color, so that the user can easily understand the input happened there. He can remember. And you can increase, plus 10% you can give for this value, minus 10% you can give, plus minus you can use, divided by you can use, multiplication you can use. You can log these cells. Log cells options are there. And when you go to the report template calculations, there are so many templates. So in the reports, you can add some calculations here, variance calculations. And you can see the different calculations here, multiple calculations. So as I said, like private versions. So you can copy. So there is a version management screen where you can create the private versions and public versions. And private versions are specific to you. When you want to share, you can just select here and you can share it with others. See here, create personal sandbox versions via drag and drop. Replicate entire versions or specific slices to your private version. Share versions with specific users for additional contribution and feedback. Easily handle on-the-fly comparison of public to public and public to private versions. Publish private versions to back to existing public versions. So you compare your private versions with public versions. Once you satisfied with the private version data you can publish. These options are available. And from the story itself, I can create the master data. I have an option to add members from the front end. Master data records from the front end I can add. And you have data locking facility. As I said, you can lock, there is a locking management. So we can go to the lock management and I can select a data region. Like I want to lock for the year 2025 for the version forecast for the entity US. I can select my driving dimensions and I can lock it. Lock data entry to any combination of dimensions and specific dimension elements. Changes in lock state automatically propagate up or down the hierarchy. Restricted entry state limits updates only the element owner or the owner of an ascendant node. Allocations, so the you have graphical allocations. Here you can see the source, driver and target. So I want to, what is the source cost center you want to choose for the allocation based on which drivers you want to allocate, what are your target cost centers. So create or load multiple allocation steps, visually configure multiple allocation rules you can configure. Execute the allocations from the story. Story means the report or input template. You have data actions, as I said. So you have different data actions. The data actions basically for the calculations. So you can execute multiple steps in one data action. You can have multiple steps. And also you have something called multi actions. In the multi actions you can execute multiple data actions. So you can write some formulas code for the calculation. See you here, advanced formulas, robust calculation engine to solve complex planning scenarios. You have filtering criteria, you have looping options, calculation cells, right? And multi-currency planning, as I said yesterday, you can see here for the entity we can maintain different source currencies and target currencies. This is the exchange rate table where this is my source currency, this is the target currency, this is the exchange rate, and this based on this table I can create some conversion currency conversion key figures. I can create some model level measures, and at the report level also, story level also, I can create calculations, currency translation calculations. So this is what I said, value driver tree. So I have growth percentage. I have this growth percentage basically used for the calculation of next level, and next level calculations are going to calculate gross sales. This gross sales is a KPI. This these two, whatever you see here, all these are KPIs. Only the down level, the first level, these are the assumptions, input members. So we have predictive forecasting. So when you enter, when you pass the training data, when you say like I want to estimate next 1 month or 2 months, system automatically creates linear or automatic or triple exponential smoothing, and it will see this yellow color. That's the data system estimated. So you have collaboration tools. You can share your input templates with others, and you can see here you can also perform the discussions here. Then stories, basically stories are a part of the implementation. So the input templates or reports, everything you create in the stories. You can use predefined templates to create the stories, right? So these are the capabilities of SAC planning. So when you learn these particular capabilities, then you can give solution for any planning scenario. So when you know how to create a story, how to create a data action, how to use the collaboration, how to use the techniques, how to use the data actions, so then whatever the scenario customer explaining to you, you can understand and you can give a solution in the customer in the SAC. So when you understand the solution, you have to understand what are the models to be created, how many models to be created, what are the dimensions you need to add it in those models. Once you understand that one, and once you know how to create, I mean, what are the input templates expected by the customer, you can create that solution. So all these things after our my course. So after this, we are going to understand financial planning. So once you understand this, you will be able to give a solution for the customer requirements. Also, you can understand how to adapt the content, whatever you activated for the integrated financial planning. You can implement a project. So next week onwards, we are going to start this particular training. Coming Saturday, yeah, 9 p.m. IST. Whomever interested, just send an email to me. I will send all the details to you. Yeah. So any questions?
Kiran, one question like under SAC, what are the all objects are coming as a master data?
I mean, like you want to compare like BPC, how account type dimension, entity type dimension, those things. Like, what are the, I mean, I did not understand your question.
No, basically we are talking about we need to load the master data into SAC, you are saying, right? What are that all loads we have to do that to work that SAC reporting, planning,
Any
forecast?
master data load, ID and attributes are loaded, texts are loaded, hierarchies are loaded.
Oh,
Right. Any other questions? So
Yeah,
you ask the questions relevant to the training hours or other relevant to this content, whatever we discussed. Yeah.
yeah, Kiran. What all scenarios could be covered, like sales or capex or costing, or can you give me a few scenarios which we might be covering in the course?
So yesterday in the demo, I said I explained what are the scenarios covered, right? I will
Okay,
share that particular demo. Just send an email. I'll share the demo so that you will understand. So these are the
okay,
scenarios we are going to cover:
okay, all
OPEX,
right.
product cost, sales and profitability, CAPEX, and financial statement planning.
Okay, so we'll be creating separate stories for this, or how is it?
We are going to activate the content and we are going to adapt the content according to our requirements.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Hey, hi Kiran. Is it possible to share the PPT or
Yeah, yeah.
so what
PPT, I'll
you're
share that. All the documents I will share. Sure.
okay, perfect. And yesterday you mentioned that you're gonna share this reporting videos as well. So is the links, the videos, is
Sure.
it possible to share? Send up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
And one more thing, Kiran, like so once all class, I mean once all things are completed, you're going to explain any the real time project or something like that, or how it will be in real time.
So after learning my course, you can implement a project. So what you have to
Okay.
do to implement a project,
Mhm.
that's what I'm going to teach.
Got it. And Karen, like, will we be getting any server access to this thing, or do we need
I'll
to
help
buy
you.
from
How to
somewhere
create the
else?
trial user, how to create the trial user, that's my responsibility. I will tell you how to create a trial user. So it's free.
Even for S4 HANA as well, right?
As for HANA, we are not going to activate or we are not going to use. We are going to use, as I said yesterday, we are going to use uh, flat files for the sample data.
Sam, okay. Thank you.
And Kiran, do we cover any integration scenarios like integrating with S4 or any other backend systems?
As I said yesterday, I explained, right? So those S4 HANA, whatever, for example, universal journal table to how to get the data,
Okay,
or from SAC, how to export data to P table, ACDoc P table. For
okay,
this, step by step videos I
okay.
will share.
Okay, okay. Not necessarily the system. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, got it. So that is important, right? Right back concepts you will be sharing.
correct.
Okay.
So the exports and imports, uh,
Okay.
detailed document with the step by
Document.
step. Tomorrow you can play that video and you can do it in the system at
Fine.
your customer site.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll stop now. Kindly send an email once, today. So tomorrow I'll send all the details to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Kiran.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, thank
Thanks.
you.